Mauritius. For many, it's that dreamy dot in the Indian Ocean. White sand like powdered sugar, turquoise lagoons, palm trees bending toward the sea. For us Mauritians, it's home. And when your home becomes one of the world's favorite holiday spots, you start seeing it through two pairs of eyes, your own and those of the visitors. When tourists arrive, the first thing they notice is the light, the colors, the tropical air wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. And us? We notice them noticing. First-timers are always easy to spot. They step out of the airport doors, feel that sudden wall of heat, and their eyes light up with a sparkle. It's the kind of look that says, wow, I'm really here. For us, 30 degrees is just another Tuesday. Some Mauritians smile at that excitement, others don't even pause. They've got errands to run, kids to pick up, daily life to handle, but deep down, there's always a quiet pride. Not because the island is perfect, but because someone traveled halfway across the world to feel what we live every day. Language is another thing we notice quickly. Mauritians switch between Creole, French, and English without a second thought. A shopkeeper might begin in French, finish in English, and toss in a Creole joke at the end. It's normal for us, but for a visitor, it can feel like a juggling act. And when tourists try, even just with a bonjour or a merci, it stands out. It's not about being fluent. It's about showing effort. A single Creole word can warm an interaction instantly. Sometimes the pronunciation is off, and yes, it makes us smile. But not to laugh at them. It's an they tried kind of smile. And that effort says a lot. I'm here to experience your world, not just walk through it. Then there's the resort bubble. This is one of those quiet truths that Mauritians think but don't often say. Many tourists never leave their hotels. And honestly, we get it. Resorts are beautiful. Infinity pools that look like they fall into the sea, endless buffets, cocktails with little umbrellas. For a visitor, it feels safe, easy, and complete. But if your entire trip is room to lounge at a buffet and back, then you haven't really been to Mauritius. You were inside a polished version of it. Some locals shrug and say, well, they paid for it, let them enjoy. Others wish visitors would step outside, even for just one day. Because outside the bubble is where the island breathes. In the shouts of street vendors, the smell of fresh bread drifting from a boulangerie at dawn, or the laughter spilling from a crowded bus. Out there, the island is alive, and it's waiting to meet you. The beach is another difference we notice. Tourists plan their beach days with full preparation. Beach bags, hats, books about Mauritius, sunscreen carefully applied. For them, it's an event. For us, it's often spontaneous. Let's go for a swim before dinner, and that's it. Flip-flops, an old t-shirt, maybe a bag of mangoes or lychees to snack on afterward. Visitors sit on beach chairs reading travel guides about the island, while locals swim nearby, laughing with cousins, playing football in the sand. We notice the contrast, and we smile, because it reminds us that something ordinary for us can be extraordinary for someone else. And then there's the rhythm of life. Mauritius doesn't run on the same clock as many visitors' home countries. Here, time moves differently. A bus may be late, a shop may open 15 minutes after it should. Tourists sometimes get impatient, the slight jaw tightening, the tapping foot. But what they don't always realize is that this slower rhythm is part of what makes the island what it is. If everything ran perfectly on schedule, Mauritius would lose some of its soul. Sometimes we adjust to visitors and speed things up, but other times we let them adapt to us. And often, when they do, they discover the very relaxation they came here for. The tourists we remember the most are not the ones who spend the most money. They're the kind ones. The ones who smile at the bus driver, who say thank you to the market vendor, who pick up their trash instead of leaving it in the sand. Small gestures that make a big difference. And here's an insider truth. It's not only visitors who need to be careful. Some Mauritians too, unfortunately, forget to take care of our beaches. Sometimes bottles, boxes, or plastic bags are left behind after a picnic. And that's a shame because this island is our home before it's anyone's holiday destination. When both tourists and locals show respect for the place, that's when the island truly shines. On a small island like ours, kindness and respect travel fast. And sadly, so does disrespect. There are really two types of visitors, the curious and the comfortable. The curious are ready to try everything. Spicy street food, rum in tiny roadside bars, public bus rides with strangers pressed shoulder to shoulder. The comfortable prefer the familiar, pizza, wine, menus in English. Neither is wrong. But curiosity builds bridges. A laugh with a vendor when you mispronounce gato pima. A bus detour that takes you somewhere you didn't expect. A conversation with a fisherman by the pier. If you ask before taking his photo. Those moments stay with both of us. They become part of your trip and part of our memory of you. And yes, we overhear the myths. Mauritius is only for honeymoons. It's always sunny. Everyone speaks perfect English. These lines make us chuckle, not in a cruel way, but the way you'd smile if someone described your best friend, but left out half of who they are. Because Mauritius is more than that. It's families, it's workers, it's traditions, it's diversity, it's rain in the highlands and mist in the mornings. It's a complicated, layered place. And sometimes, we wish visitors could see that too. Mauritians are used to blending cultures. It's in our DNA. So when visitors bring theirs, we notice the differences and the similarities. Some greet with handshakes, others with hugs. Some eat with fork and knife, others with their hands. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's beautiful. But always, it's a reminder that travel isn't just about landscapes. It's about letting worlds overlap, even for a moment. If there's one thing Mauritians all agree on, it's this: respect matters. Not just respect for people, but respect for the place. When tourists keep beaches clean, when they dress modestly at temples, when they ask before taking someone's photo, we notice, and we remember. Because in the end, it's not about how much money you spent, but about the way you made the island feel. So why do we even care? Yes, tourism is important for our economy, but it goes deeper. This is our home. When people treat it well, we feel proud. When they misunderstand it, it stings. Not because we expect everyone to understand Mauritius perfectly in one trip, but because we know how special it is. And we want others to see it as more than just a postcard. So what do Mauritians really think about tourists? We think they're curious, sometimes shy, sometimes bold, often surprised. We think they become part of the island story for a week, 2 weeks, maybe longer. And if they leave with more than a tan, if they leave with a true sense of the people, the rhythm, and the heart of this place, then that's a win for everyone. Because on an island this small, connection is impossible to ignore.